Everybody get your ass, stay in your lane. Let's cover. Let's get this game started. All right, let's go. Let's cover on third.
Here is the fake draw, and back goes Bukowski to throw, and he's got the fly pattern to Sterling Sharp, and he caught it.
Let's just keep chipping away. Keep running the way we're running, okay? We'll get there.
In 1989, the Green Bay Packers stared down the demons of their recent past to take their place among the NFL's frontrunners.
Here's the handoff, second man through, Woodside spinning, getting away at the 40, the 45. Got a man to beat. He's at the 40, the 35, the 30. From behind, he's being chased at the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, and a touchdown for Woodside.
The Packers were an eclectic mix of blossoming youth, rock-solid veterans, and players making their curtain call. They were a blend of budding superstars and new faces, both young and old. It was a team expected to stay with the flock, but these Mavericks broke free and took wing. The job of gelling the Packers' collection of old and new belonged to head coach Lindy Infante, who attacked the task with his combination of positive approach and football savvy.
Let's go to work out here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Right. Just turn around, look at the official. He'll stick his hand up, and we can stop the damn noise battle. Infante's
effervescent style reaches beyond the field into the community, where his warmth and thoughtfulness have made him a favorite of the sideline wheelchair regulars.
Well, okay, you guys give me a little inspiration every week. It's great.
We appreciate you coming over here and making us feel welcome.
The NFL's 1989 Consensus Coach of the Year has used a hands-on approach in each phase of the game to help reverse the Packers' fortunes. But it is his offensive brilliance that has made Green Bay deadly.
Or even on wider, we went to wider one time and they walked Sam out to play their cover two. So whichever way we go with that guy coming up the middle, you ought to have a shot.
And this season, Infante found the man to bring his blueprint to life. After winning the quarterback job in preseason, Don Bukowski's dazzling sleight of hand had Packers fans singing a new song as the Magic Man cast his spell over NFL defenses.
Come on, offense. Let's go, baby. We need it. We need it.
In 1989, Bukowski threw for over 4,300 yards and 27 touchdowns, the second highest totals in Packers history, and also emerged as the team's #2 rusher. Bukowski blossomed within Infante's multiple system and was consistently able to find the second and third receiver. And it was Bukowski's rock and roll looks and style that gave the Packers offense its personality. While dazzling one minute, the Packers could struggle the next. And early on, big deficits became routine. But each deficit became a motivating tool for a team ready to explode, which the Rams found out in Week 3.
Back to pass goes Bukowski. Quick pattern, man wide open. That's Sharp. From the 10, the 5, touchdown, Sterling Sharp. Bukowski on the handoff to Fullwood, cuts inside to the 5. Hello, touchdown.
442 yards of offense was not enough, but the attitude was being forged.
We got to get it back, buddy. We got to get it back, baby. Let's go now. Come on. Way to work, buddy.
As the Packers came together, they began to thrive on their comeback nature. So when they fell behind the Falcons 21-6, things quickly picked up.
Here's Mikowski back to throw. On a blitz, comes over the middle. It is caught, and that is Jeff Query. He fumbles the ball. And the Packers serving. Sharp picks it up, and he's in the end zone. Touchdown. Here's Mikowski back to throw on first down. Gets a good block. Now runs out of there to the right. Wants some help throwing downfield for Fontenot. Got it. Touchdown.
17 fourth-quarter points finished off the comeback in Milwaukee. The early part of the Packers season was marked by comebacks and turnarounds. And while each was uniquely exciting, none was more important or more reflective of what the Packers could be than the Week 2 meeting with the Saints. New Orleans scored on its first 3 possessions and took a 24-7 halftime lead before Don Mikowski and Brent Fullwood went 80 yards in 14 plays to start the most exciting second half of football in 1989.
Here's the handoff to Fullwood. Touchdown, Green Bay on the dive across the top.
While Fullwood was exploding for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns, another Auburn Tiger was shaking free to get across the goal line twice to stoke the comeback fire.
Here's Mikowski on a play action, rolling to the right, wide open, touchdown to the Packers, Eddie West. Perfectly executed, and the Packers are back in the ballgame. Here's Mikowski, play action, fake again, back to throw. Looking wide open, Eddie West can. 5, touchdown, Eddie West.
It was a game filled with clutch plays, but one does stand apart. On 4th and 17, with the Packers down by 6, Mikowski found rookie Jeff Query on the sideline for 23 yards to keep the drive alive. The catch was clearly one of the most crucial plays of the season for the Packers, and it served as a fitting prelude for the game's inevitable ending.
Here is Mikowski back to throw. Mikowski looking, breaking down, cuts over the middle. Touchdown to Sterling Sharp over the middle. Wow, what a great play. What a great second half by Mikowski, who's done everything right on target.
The 35-34 win demonstrated to the Packers, their fans, and the teams remaining on their schedule that this team was capable of almost anything, no matter what the situation. It was a team just beginning to discover its potential. And at 2-2 after 4 games, Green Bay was a team just beginning to taste the sweetness of victory. The Packers' whirlwind now had all eyes fixed squarely upon them, and the winds of change continued to blow when the Dallas Cowboys made their first trip to Lambeau since the 1967 Ice Bowl title game. And on this day, it was running back Herman Fontenot who put Dallas in the deep freeze with 2 touchdown catches in the Packers' 502-yard outburst. But the biggest excitement came from Green Bay's dynamic duo.
All right, here's Mikowski. Steps up again, looking. Now he wants to throw long down the sideline to Sterling Sharp. Caught it. 45-40, 35-30, 25-20. 15, the 10, the 5, touchdown for Sterling Sharp, 79 yards.
Santa Claus himself would have been proud of the ground Sharp covered in 1989, as he became the first Packer to lead the NFL in receiving since the legendary Don Hutson in 1945. Sharp hauled in 90 passes for 1,423 yards in 1989, both Packer records. But his greatest asset was his extraordinary drive, will, and strength near the goal line. With 6 100-yard receiving games, Sharp emerged as one of the NFL's premier game breakers and became the leader of the young core of receivers whose confidence grew with each passing week.
We own them, man. We own them. They can't stop us.
I know. Hey, you all right, dog?
Been on them all game. Yeah, I'm all right now.
I ain't know where you was at, dog.
That is big time.
Let's go, baby.
That's just big time.
Packers receivers earn their way into the big time by never backing down. Wideouts Jeff Query, Carl Bland, and number 81 Perry Kemp always managed to bounce back, which served them well against the Lions in Week 8. Majkowski's spectacular day earned him NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors, but the improving Lions sent the game into overtime and had Packers fans checking their pacemakers. But once again, the Packers found a new way to win, as on the first play of overtime, safety Mark Murphy stepped in front of Rodney Peete's pass for the interception that set up rookie place kicker Chris Jackie's game-winning attempt.
Good snap. The ball down. The kick is on the way. The kick is good. It's over. All right. And the Packers have won it, and Chris Jackie gets a second chance, and the Packers win the ball game by a 23-20 margin.
The win over the Lions aroused the call of the Wild in Green Bay, and the Packers were ready to bag the biggest game yet, the Bears. Chicago had won the last 8 meetings between the two teams, but the 1989 Packers arrived in force.
And the ride to the right by Majkowski, and back to throw. Wide open, man, and there's Didier, and the touchdown.
Despite trailing 13-7 late in the game, the Packers never lost the confidence that would carry them through to the end.
Looked like a pretty good job on the game inside on the TT. Everything looked real solid.
4th and goal from the 14. Majkowski looking, now stepping up, on the run. He's going to have to throw in the end zone. Throw it on, and touchdown! Sterling Sharp! He caught it!
And after a 4-minute delay, it was official.
After further review, we have a reversal.
The on-field official who ruled Majkowski over the line of scrimmage was overruled, and after 10 weeks, the Packers were 5-5. While the Packers' offense received much of the credit for the team's early success, their machine would kick into high gear behind a defense led by All-Pro linebacker Tim Harris. Harris has become recognized as one of the NFL's dominant defensive players, and the Packers' main sacker sets the tone for the whole defense.
I like those guns right there. Shoot them up all day long today. Shoot them up all day long.
His attack can be both overpowering and swift. Number 97 exploded for 19.5 sacks, and his guns never stopped blazing.
Go tear him up. Boom.
Harris was the leader of a defense made up of the young and old, featuring players like Brian Noble and Blaze Winter, linebacker Johnny Holland, retiring Packer John Anderson and Mike Weddington, along with linemen Bob Nelson and Robert Brown. This defense made a major impact. Teamwork fueled the defense. Here, Mark Lee turns a sweep back inside for safety Chuck Cecil. The secondary boasted the real rock and rollers of Green Bay's defense, a collection of hot hits and golden oldies who had a whole lot of shaking going on. Moving into 5th place on the NFL's all-time interception list was Dave Brown. And air traffic around Lambeau was waylaid by number 28, Ron Pitts, son of Packers Hall of Famer Elijah Pitts. A tenacious, scrappy style made opportunities hard to slip past nickelback number 23, Tiger Green, and safety Ken Stills. But the most consistent of them all remains safety Mark Murphy, who produced another season of workmanlike play to lead the Packers in unassisted tackles. With all the parts in place, the Packers were ready for the season's final push, which began at the home of the world champion 49ers. Chuck Cecil jump-started the Pack by intercepting Joe Montana for the first time in over 150 attempts. And from there, the Packers went right at the champions like champions themselves.
Breaking down on him over the middle. Caught by Sharp.
As usual, the game came down to the fourth quarter, and this time Mikowski had to pull one out playing with badly bruised ribs in the backyard of the team of the 80s.
Mikowski with some pressure on a quarterback draw, and he's got a first down and a touchdown.
I knew they were going to run that play, Jim. I just knew it, and they did it, and he walked into the end zone. What a play by Mikowski.
Mikowski's ability to shake off his obviously considerable pain and produce another comeback win sparked the Packers, and the 21-17 victory became both San Francisco's last loss of the season and the first salvo of what would become a whirlwind final flurry for the green and gold, whose next stop was Milwaukee for the Vikings. Despite missing the entire week of practice with his rib injury, Mikowski went 26 for 35 against the NFL's #1 defense.
Looking. Throws it over the middle. It is caught. Hit it. And touchdown. Sterling Sharp. He was hit at the 2, and he pulled his way in.
With a too close for comfort 20-19 lead, Dave Brown twice provided game-ending heroics.
He goes back in the pocket now, looking. They're after him. He throws the ball upfield. David Brown playing it. Intercepted David Brown. At the 43-yard line, David Brown pulls it down. No flags. The Packers should be able to run it out from there. No timeouts left for Minnesota.
The Packers were rolling with the season's third win in County Stadium, and the thrill show was ready to head to Florida.
Back goes Mikowski to throw. Here comes the rush. It goes over the middle. It's caught by Sharp. He's got the 10. He's got a touchdown. Sterling Sharp over the middle, and he scores the touchdown.
Sharp exploded for 169 receiving yards on 8 catches, including Green Bay's 2 touchdowns. Things looked dim when Tampa took a 2-point lead with under 2 minutes left. But a Buccaneer penalty on 4th down gave the Packers a second chance. And Mikowski was able to find Carl Bland over the middle. And then stop the clock with 1 second left to set up a 47-yard attempt for Jackie, whose foot would decide the Packers' fate for a 5th time this season.
The kick is on the way. The kick is good. He made it. The Packers win 17-16.
The Packers' NFL record 4th 1-point win had them fully battle-hardened as the Blitz moved on to Chicago. Following his key interception earlier in the quarter, linebacker Scott Stevens' Packers record 76-yard fumble return warmed up the Soldier Field crowd for the Green Bay Magic Act.
Bukowski straight back in the pocket. Got a lot of time. Now it's breaking down. He eludes one man. He's on the run over to the left. Got to watch out behind. Now throws it towards the field and caught by Kent. Touchdown.
The gelling process completed. The Packers' once suspect offensive line, led by Ken Rutgers, Rich Moran, Alan Weinbrad, Blair Bush, and number 65 Ron Hallstrom, cleared the way for the 40-28 Green Bay win. The demolition of the Bears kept the Packers in contention for an NFC playoff berth. And they face the decisive game of the season, the finale in Dallas, needing a win to stay alive in the playoff hunt. And with the postseason calling, it all came together.
Passes Bukowski, and he's going long, and he overshoots the intended receiver, and it's caught by Perry Kemp. How did Kemp catch the ball? I don't know how Kemp came up with the football. And here they come, and the ball comes over the middle to Query. Touchdown, Jeff Query.
Although they did not reach the playoffs, nothing can diminish the Packers' accomplishment. Facing a must-win situation, they won 20-10. It was a fitting conclusion to a season of outstanding achievement. 5 wins in the final 6 games. The most wins for a Packer team since 1972. The 6-game victory increase from 1988 tied a team record. And Green Bay's 10 wins told the story of an unlikely mix that blended together and emerged as one to take its place among the NFL's elite.